A meat packing plant has been busted for illegally employing over 100 kids in dangerous conditions. Basically, Packer Sanitation Services had children as young as 13 working with hazardous chemicals when they're not trained for it. Now, federal investigators revealed Friday that one of the nation's largest food sanitation companies had illegally employed at least 102 children in dangerous jobs at 13 meatpacking facilities across 8 different states, leading to a $1.5 million in fines. Now, the U.S. Department of Labor said that its wage and hour division found that children were working with hazardous chemicals and they were cleaning meat processing equipment, which included back saws, brisket saws, and head splitters. Now, it determined that the children were between the ages of 13 and 17, and they unlawfully worked for a Keeler, Wisconsin-based Packer Sanitation Services Inc. at plants in Arkansas, Colorado, Indiana, Kansas, Minnesota, Nebraska, Tennessee, and Texas. Now, Jessica Lumen, who's the principal deputy administrator of the Department of Labor's Wage and Hour Division, said that the child labor violations were systemic and they clearly indicate a corporate-wide failure by Packer Sanitation Services at all levels. These children should never have been employed in meatpacking plants, and this can only happen when employers do not take responsibility to prevent the child labor violations from occurring in the first place. Michael Lazary, who's the division's regional minister in Chicago, said that our investigation found that Packer Sanitation Services systems flagged some young workers as minors, but the company at the time ignored the flag. When the Wage and Hour Division arrived with warrants, the adults who had recruited, hired, and supervised these children tried to derail the efforts to investigate their employment practices, Lazary noted. The Department of Labor, which found at least 3 cases where the illegally employed children were injured on the job, and they fined the company $15,138 for each child who was not legally employed, and the highest possible penalty under federal law. As New York Times reported, some researchers have criticized the civil monetary penalties, which are set by Congress as woefully insufficient to protect workers and to deter employers from violating the labor laws. It's really shameful that the level of fine is so low, said Celine McNichols, who's the director of policy at the Economic Policy Institute, which is a research group that seeks to improve conditions for workers. It's not sufficiently toothy enough to prevent the use of child labor in the meatpacking industry. Now, despite such criticism, the solicitor of labor, Seema Nanda, had framed the case as an example of accountability, declaring Friday that the Department of Labor has made it absolutely clear that violations of child labor laws will not be tolerated. No child should ever be subject to the conditions found in this investigation. The courts have upheld the department's rightful authority to execute federal court-approved search warrants and compelled this employer to change their hiring practices to ensure compliance with the law. Now, let this case be a powerful reminder that all workers in the United States are entitled to the protections of the Fair Labor Standards Act, and that an employer who violates wage laws should be held accountable. But in a lengthy statement Friday, Packer Sanitation Services said that it was pleased to have finalized this settlement figure. Basically, they claimed they had been crystal clear from the start. Our company has a zero-tolerance policy against employing anyone under the age of 18 and fully shares the DOJ's objective of ensuring the full compliance at all locations. The statement continued, noting internal audits and the hiring of a third-party law firm to review and help further strengthen the policy. Now, the statement highlighted that none The statement highlighted that none of the illegally employed children still work for Packer Sanitation Services, and the DOJ has also not identified any managers aware of improper conduct that are currently employed with the company. Now, the revelations come amid a renewed national debate about child labor laws sparked by Republican legislation in Iowa, pushing rollbacks to allow children as young as 14 to work in jobs including animal slaughtering, logging, and mining. Now, the proposal in Iowa is part of a trend of GOP state lawmakers across the country advocating relaxed child labor laws in recent years. Now, this company basically got fined $1.5 million for employing children as young as 17 to work in dangerous meatpacking stuff when they've not been trained to do so. So the company is fined $1.5 million, and who knows what else is going to happen to them. Now, if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just a little as a few bucks a video, your donation can help go a long way. And thanks for listening.